Baby beard meteor.
Oh no.
Baby beard meteor. Slamming into your face.
Is that the tagline?
Slamming into your ears.
Slamming in your face.
All right, well, that was a bad suggestion.
Shut up and take my podcast!
Jeez.
Okay, that was probably the loudest.
That's
they've had.
terrifying.
So, welcome to Shut Up and Take My Podcast. I am Sean.
I'm James.
I'm Chris. Hi.
Oh, yeah, you said I
said
wasn't
hi.
ready for that extra
I
word.
know, I added a bit to mix it up. I
Hello,
know,
everybody.
Changing our format.
Welcome to the Futurama podcast, where we look at every single episode from the beginning to the end and beyond until it finishes. We are on episode 9. Ladies and gentlemen, the episode is called Hell is Other Robots. Do we know what that's referencing?
Yeah, hell is other robot. People. Hell is other people. What's that? I'll just re-quote the joke.
It's quoting itself.
Yeah, that's right. It's
Obviously.
self-referential.
And what is Hell is Other People?
Is it not the French? It's not Voltaire. It's Molière.
No, it's a different French name. Can't give you what French name, but it is a French name.
Let me have a look. Keep going.
Yeah, just yell it out when you've got it.
All right.
Director's Rich Moore, who we've got back, so, you know, Wreck-It Ralph, blah, 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 blah. Writer is... You looked at me.
I was like, I don't know what you're doing there.
You recoiled. No.
I was like,
Jean-Paul Sartre.
Did you say Zatir?
Yeah, I didn't say Sartre.
No, you did, so I was right. The third one.
From No Exit.
Writer
Which is a play.
Eric
know
Kaplan,
that.
who's currently a writer on Big Bang Theory.
oh, no.
How the great have fallen.
Yeah, and he was a story editor on every episode on season 1 of Futurama.
Okay.
So thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
The air date, just to say, is May the 18th, 1999. Introductions aplenty. Robot Devil. Dan Castellaneta, for the first time. So
Yes.
voice of Homer.
Yes.
Is here, and we have Chris's favourite, the Beastie Boys, or more
Yeah.
specifically, 2 of the Beastie Boys.
Yeah.
Was the third one not a Beastie Boy?
No, he just didn't voice
Oh,
himself.
didn't voice himself. Okay.
Yeah, MCA. So Adam, who passed away in 2012, didn't voice himself.
Oh.
They just didn't have him do his vocal.
He just wasn't
He
available?
wasn't. I
or-
don't believe he was
Yeah.
available.
Well, it took them. The 2 of the writer and I think it was David Cohen travelled to where they were and waited 3 days to hear from them.
Oh,
Like,
really?
so you're gonna record with us, and it took them 3 days to get an answer, basically, because they're funny that during around that time period they were pretty busy.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, the Beastie Boys back in 1999.
Yeah.
Pretty busy.
Yeah.
Busy time for them.
And Reverend Lionel Preacherbot is the other one.
Praise the Lord.
Oh, and robotology.
Yeah,
Robotology. Yeah.
Robotology is the first thing. Plot.
I'll go plot.
Yeah,
Even though technically
sure.
you're supposed to be going plot because you yelled. That's the rule now.
Oh,
But
is that the rule
It's
we're
a rule.
implementing?
Well, it is the rule.
It's a rule
It's
now.
what we've been doing with the past few
Yeah.
ones. But
I've never run down the plot before.
Well, I think
Okay,
that's a sign for you to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. Plot is that we find that basically Bender finds religion.
Yes.
Is the basic plot of
Yeah.
it. Is Bender finds religion, ends up becoming too religious to the point where he annoys the rest of the crew.
Becomes
Just
sanctimonious.
as if
always
it's
great.
saying like something.
yeah,
like
it's almost as if it's
making
saying
a commentary
something.
or something.
Crazy.
And so they bring him back to the dark side where he belongs, and because of that, he gets sent to robot hell.
Yes.
And we get musical shenanigans, and basically, eventually, Bender escapes and decides to be not good, not evil, but just the right amount of Bender.
Yeah.
That's the episode.
That's good.
That's it.
So, what do we think, guys? Oh, Sean, you haven't done this first yet. I'll go first. I liked it. No. What do we think, guys?
It's my favorite episode of the first season.
Interesting.
It
Elaborate.
might be my favorite episode. I think it probably top 5 of all of Futurama.
All of Futurama.
Yeah, Hell is Other Robots is one of my favorites. Yes, considerably, because it does have the Beastie Boys, and I do love the Beastie Boys so much.
Let me throw something at you.
Yeah, sure.
Take Beastie Boys out of it.
Still great.
Okay.
Still great. They just make a great episode even better.
The icing on the cake.
Yeah, really, they are. Because they show up like twice.
Ooh.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're at the start with the concert, and then they're at the end. They top and tail the episode. That's it.
No, I just remember we were going through. I remember because you started watching this episode before I did.
Yes.
And you were just so like you had a child's smile on your face. You're like, "It's the one with the Beastie Boys in it."
Yeah.
It's the Beastie Boys
I
one.
love the Beastie Boys.
Sean, it's got the Beastie Boys.
I really
in it.
love the Beastie Boys. And it's the introduction of Beelzebub, the robot devil,
Yeah, he's great.
whose voice actor changes.
Does it?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yes. So it's Dan.
You talk. I'll Google.
Dan does it I think, in the first 4 seasons, I think. And then Billy West does it.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean,
believe
if any,
in season-
Billy talks to himself enough, I
Yeah.
think he's going to do fine.
I think so. That's from memory.
How
I know it's
similar-
voiced by 2 people.
How similar is the voice?
No, it's Maurice LaMarche,
Oh, there you go.
who does. Oh, God damn it, Kif, Calculon,
Right.
Bont, and Walt, who we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And from an earlier conversation, which wasn't on the podcast, yes, it is Brain from Pinky and the Brain.
Right. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, so yeah, you've got that. But yeah, he takes over
Cool,
Robot Devil.
cool. Yeah. So he's voiced by 2 people over the course of the show. Yeah, I love the episode. It's so good. It's everything I like about Futurama.
James, what about you?
I'll have to disagree with him.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so enjoyable. Just from, like, Robot Devil alone is great.
Yeah.
And the musical number at the end is just fantastic to watch.
Is it your favorite episode of the entire season so far?
Do we want to maybe get to that later?
Oh no, just because you already mentioned it.
Sure.
so
I
I'm
will-
wondering-
I will have a think about it. It's up there, just because I just love the way, like, it kind of tackles religious aspects and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
and Bender going through religion and becoming too involved, like
Yes.
throwing himself right in the deep end, which I find very interesting. But overall, it's just great to watch.
Yeah.
And love it. And I'm not a huge fan as much as the Beastie Boys as Chris is, but they are quite good in it. Any cameo from, like, stars of that time playing, I'm usually enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucking hated it. I think it's the worst episode. No, I actually really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this episode a lot more than I thought I did. For some reason in my mind, because I actually don't remember a lot about this episode.
Sure.
I remember the first half. I don't
Right.
remember a lot from when Bender actually gets taken to hell. All I remembered was there was a musical number and that was it. Like, there's the sequence that's partially 3D and then it partially not, where he's in the carriage cart thing on
Yes.
the way to hell. I have
Yes.
no recollection of that sequence.
Oh,
at all.
when he's given the pamphlet, Hell is Other
Yeah,
Robots. Yeah.
I have, and which, by the way, just as a little thing, that's the first time we've seen the title of the episode in the episode, whether mentioned or just visually. But that's the first time we've seen that. But no, I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. I love creepy, light-hearted Bender, like
Yeah.
like just
Fry.
You're my friend. I realized this the other day. I love cute Bender. Like,
Yeah.
Bender when he goes through the car wash and
Yeah, Bender when he's being charming.
Yeah, Bender when he crashes through the ceiling. Who of you are going to be saved?
Yeah. I like it because it's so different to how we usually see it, and that's why it's so enjoyable. I was going to go way off topic here. I'll just go, if anyone watches regular show,
Yeah.
Benson.
Yes.
When Benson actually helps the guys out and is really friendly with them, it's fantastic.
Yes.
But he has to be a dick 99% of the time.
So we get that payoff.
So we get that payoff.
Yeah.
It just works a lot better.
I think I disliked this the first time I watched it.
Okay.
And then when I was just watching it before we started recording this, it was mainly the musical number that I had an issue with.
Right.
And then I actually started listening to it. Funny what happens when you listen to the actual lyrics, but the allusions to the levels of hell.
Yes.
And going through the levels, and obviously they've cut a few, because I know they have actually cut a few of the levels out in the editing process, so we skip a bit. But
3, 4.
yeah,
We go from 2 to 5.
exactly.
Yep.
So we still, you get the point. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
there.
And people, I assume our listeners know what the levels of hell are referring to.
Yes.
You guys know it's Dante's Inferno.
Yes, yeah.
Which is referenced in the episode as the ride in the theme park. It's called the Inferno.
In what is it? Ted's. What was the name of the thing? It's like,
I can't remember.
I don't
Risky Ted?
Yeah, I think it's Risky
Risky
Ted's. Yeah, Funland.
A safe place to visit. And everyone got salmonella or
It's
something.
who would have thought hell was a factual place? And in New Jersey.
Well, actually,
I think I've counted 4 New Jersey
Yeah, I think
episodes
so.
that have taken shots at New Jersey, and we're only 9 episodes in, so they've almost got a 50% chance of throwing shade at New Jersey in an episode.
I really like that.
Also, just as I just noted as part of the continuity of the episode and the logic, Nibbler's still stuck in hell.
Yeah.
Nibbler went with them and didn't come out.
Doesn't come out. That's
Nibbler can find.
I was going to say, based on what we know of Nibbler, he's fine.
He can find his
we
own
don't
way
see
out.
Nibbler go down the slides.
Does he stay on the ground?
Yeah, he stays on the.
Oh, he just
on the
needs to
top
walk out
floor.
the door then.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Nibbler's fine.
He's good.
Still has to walk
Yeah,
all the
I know.
way, but for Nibbler,
He's
it's
a
fine.
smart guy.
It wasn't as funny as episodes earlier in the season, but story-wise, and as you're talking about the analogies to religion, the shots at Scientology and organized religion in general, and the idea of what's PC and what's considered.
I just like how when people do get into religions, obviously later in life after I guess traumatic events or life changes, when they go into it, they don't take baby steps. It's throwing yourself completely in, and how that changes like family dynamics and friendships, and it's kind of like you're not really who I know anymore.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we're not fully understanding what they're getting into either.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
The full ramifications and like when you just preach the bare basics of what you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And not fully understanding.
And you kind of just cut out exactly who you are, rather than you're kind of just an ideal. You're not a person anymore.
Well, I think it's really poignant, particularly not necessarily with what you call quote unquote mainstream religions like Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hindu, or Buddhism, but certainly stuff like Scientology, where at the end of this episode, or around the middle, when Bender goes to robot hell, he goes, "Why am I in hell? I don't deserve here." And Beelzebub's response is, "This is what you agreed to when you joined our religion."
Yeah,
like so, it's actual like, and you hear that sort of statement come from people who have come from Scientology, where they've gone, I had to go to these places because little did I know that by joining the religion, I'd actually agreed to spend money, this amount of money, to give this amount of money to groups, to buy these things, to convert a number of other people, or I would be punished. In a real sense, like not in a you're going to go to hell eventually sort of sense, in like your mainstream Christian way. It's like actually like you will be punished, like you will lose your house, like people lose their houses to Scientology, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's really good because it's like touches on religion and takes on cults as well.
Yeah.
If I'm drawing that distinction kind of clearly, like it isn't just like religion is bad or good. It's like religion is a thing that can be bad or good, but also be wary of cults. You know what I mean? Like cults are a thing. Stay away from those.
And also the other issue we tackle is drug use.
And
drug
more
abuse. To the point, look what you can get away with if it's Bender.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're not going to have, like, we got away with the crack vending machine in last week's episode.
They just wanted a reason to say jacking off.
Jacking on.
Jacking on. Okay.
But the fact is, we clearly see Bender taking drugs, essentially.
Yeah.
We effectively see him mistreat his body.
Which you're not going to get with Fry or Leela or any of the other characters. It's just not going to get past
and
the
we
network.
see that like Bender is basically like that's a limit for him. Like that's too far.
Yeah, we see. I think this is really interesting in that this is the first episode where we see the limits of Bender's debauchery. Like
his morals as well.
Exactly. And his willingness to put other people forward. He does reach the point of crisis where he's like, what am I doing with my life? Like he actually does have a crisis of faith, a crisis of personality, when he's stealing electricity from the church. Which I think is the funniest moment. Or one of the funniest moments.
And it's the thing as well, is that you always get two different, when you have less laughs in a Futurama episode, which has happened a few times now in the season, we've come at it either two different ways. Either one, in the terms of, I'd argue with this episode, there are less laughs, but it is backed up with all the extra meat and the extra depth that they place into it.
Yes.
It's poignancy, it's everything else that comes along with it, which is why one of my favorite episodes in a later season is when Fry gets stung by the bee, the wasp or whatever. That's more heavily a dramatic episode. And because it's so strong in that area, we don't need it to be as comedic. Whereas other times you'll get episodes that aren't as funny, like Fear of a Bot Planet, but it's not helped along by
there's no trade-off.
There's no trade-off. There's nothing that can substitute it.
Yeah, a good episode is one that is able to balance the laughs and the story, and one that like if they're 50-50, if like one of them drops, the other one has to increase equally. And if it doesn't, it's a bad episode.
Yeah, because if you can get away with a less plot heavy, less dramatic episode if it is comedic and charming and stays true to the characters. You can, which is a lot of the charm that comes from Love Labour's Lost in Space.
Well, and also all these shorts that they do; those are effectively just gag reels for 10 minutes. You know?
Which is why I think as a kid I didn't appreciate this episode as much,
because it's so plot heavy.
And I'm expecting like to laugh a lot more as a. That's why we appreciate Simpsons a lot more, and when we look back and watch those earlier seasons now, because we're seeing what they're doing with it, and we're watching how they're building their characters and just foreshadowing and building upon what's going to happen later without relying too heavily on that, still staying in the moment.
What are people's favorite moments?
Well, I love the musical number at the end, obviously. Lines, I wrote it down. It was, when they went to the mob planet and Fry comes back, it's like, and Fry says, I know Big Vinny says he was giving me the kiss of death, but I still think he's gay.
Yeah, and it's like,
did he use tongue?
A little bit.
A
little.
That's funny. We didn't even see the mob planet. It was just there for that joke.
Yeah.
Was it like Siflon 6 or something like that? And you just hear it, they go to it, that's it.
Yeah. It was like a Sicily planet or
yeah,
something.
Sicily
6 or something.
That's right.
6 or something
Yeah.
like that.
And it's kind of funny because that could have been an episode in itself.
Yeah, exactly.
We've literally cut out an episode that could have been a story on itself.
Yeah.
Because that's just the norm for them now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go to the planet, do a thing, leave.
Yeah, do the delivery, leave.
Easily, if they went, Bender could have either robbed from the mob or slept with the mob's wife, which he will do later on, I believe.
Yeah, I think he actually does that.
Like all these ideas where it's like, this could have gone this way, they just do it later.
And we would have met Clamps, probably.
Yeah, Clamps. Was it a people mob planet or a robot mob planet? Or just a mob planet?
Or maybe both.
Maybe both.
Or
That's more terrifying.
Neither. Like aliens.
Alien mob
An
planet.
alien mob planet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It could be a thing.
Sean, what about you?
Oh, you beat me. What about you, Chris?
Oh, damn. Okay. I really love the musical number. It's one of my favorites. Basically, all of Futurama's musical numbers are pretty good. I love the Beastie Boys, like how they use a fisheye. Like camera lens.
I wrote that down. That was good. I did like that.
I really
love
that.
Or like how they Madison Cube Garden, they've got intergalactic tour.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, it's good.
And they give nice little lines as well. Like Bender introduces, it's like, here's Fry, Leela, and Benny. It's like,
Adam, not Adam. It's Ad Rock is like, we're
not really excited
don't
to
care.
say we don't. Like, why?
I don't know. I think my favorite is when Beelzebub. It's the one I'm looking back on that makes me laugh the most. Is when Beelzebub gets beaten up by the golden fiddle.
Oh, and he shrieks.
He shrieks out. And he's like, "Stop them! They cheated!"
I just like when he gets hit. He's like, "Ah!"
Yeah,
it's so weak. Like, nice little shriek.
I'm struggling for a moment. See, usually I'm prepped. I've got my notebook in front of me, and I write it down because I will forget it. Because that's what I do.
I usually write down jokes from like the opening 10 minutes because I forget them and I remember the rest.
Yeah, I don't know about favorite moment, but my favorite scene is the Beastie Boys mosh pit scene.
Yep.
Referencing like that the Beastie Boys have 2 more albums after this is written, obviously. It says, I have all 5 albums. Like, no, we've had 7 now.
Yeah.
Which actually they've made 8.
Yes.
So like we got it wrong. Futurama rewrit history.
Unfortunately, they won't be releasing anymore.
But Fry and Bender like moshing, bumping each other.
Nice
Leela gets bumped, just gets annoyed and just starts kicking people in the face,
smacking people down. Yeah.
We don't want to go into jokes or things we didn't like or didn't work. I've got one
Sure.
that I didn't like.
Kick it off.
When they are going towards the electric field in space, and Fry's
Gets an afro.
I was like,
didn't feel that.
Yeah, I was like, not really working.
The weakest thing is there's some good stuff in there. I don't feel like the preacher bot, the assistant, or the hype man. The hype man, along with the preacher bot, needs to be there necessarily. Feels a bit over the top. We get a southern feel enough.
See, I was going to say the same thing. Something about that preacher scene felt off.
Yeah.
To me.
I think it might have actually been shot wrong, might be the right way to put it. Like, it felt too wide. Like churches, like as someone who's like worked in churches for a lot, they're very the glass ceiling sort of thing. It's very southern churchy, and it doesn't work as a theme at night. Like, it's a very different... I don't know. Something about it was wrong. Something about it was strange.
As a side note, like, I realize every now and then we keep giving out little tidbits about our lives. Yeah. Like, so I just imagine the audience members, like, listeners trying to piece together things about us.
To the church. Possible pastor.
Yeah. Full disclosure. And it's part of the reason why I do like this episode is that I was studying to become a priest at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He looked like Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, yeah. I had hair long down to my
Weird Al
shoulders.
Yankovic now, like Weird Al Yankovic from the early 90s.
Yeah, I had hair down to my shoulders. I was a youth minister. I was a youth leader at a high school. I did a 1 year internship at my old high school. If I didn't get into drama school or I didn't get into my university of choice, I was going to go to the
Scientology.
Yeah, I was going to become a Scientologist. I was going to join the church and basically study to be a priest.
I guess I'm a clone now.
Yep.
Weird Al Yankovic.
There's only 2 of me. There's always 2 of me just hanging about. But yeah, it's part of the reason why I like this episode as well. Like, it's because I see, like, not as someone who's like jaded and atheist or anything like that, who's an anti faith or anti-religion, but as someone who knows like the foibles of it and the pitfalls of it, I'm like, I can see it and be like, yeah, like there's the dangers of like joining a faith that say in a very real thing, if you do not do these things, we will punish you. Like those are even, like, I know I said this before, mainstream churches don't do that, but they do intend to in some, like if you fully commit to them. If you join them and become kind of aggressively part of the congregation, you can get kind of trapped by them.
Yeah. You know what's very interesting as well is that with this particular episode is that they don't ever say who, but there is a member of the staff that works on Futurama that refused to work on this episode because of the way they tackled religion and the way they portrayed religion.
Really?
So they just refused to work on this episode because of the way it was portrayed.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was done very fairly.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing.
In my opinion.
And what also would be interesting to know is what side are they looking at it from?
Yeah, that's a good point. They might be like, you guys didn't tackle religion hard enough, you went too soft on them. Or,
Like, you're not
I
being...
would say it would be the other way
I
around.
suspect it's the other way around.
Most likely.
You guys weren't hard enough with your satire.
I suspect it's probably a Southern Baptist member, like someone from the Southern Baptist Church, because the Southern Baptist Church does get a bad rap. Some of it deserved, some of it undeserved. But
As a Christian, I'm not offended, but as a satirist...
yeah, that's right.
Did you say Satanist? No, satirist.
And they actually had enough material in this episode that they could have done a 3-parter.
I don't doubt it.
They initially were going to have this, that they had enough material to fill 3 episodes. Like, maybe not.
I mean, the fact that they come back at the season finale of the first round production, like Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings.
Season 4.
Season 4, end of season 4.
Well, because you thought this was the
I did,
finale.
yeah.
Which you can kind of see.
Yes.
If they were to end it there.
You can kind of see, like, Bender returning to normal, the whole thing returning to normal, and Bender flying off into the sunset. Because literally that's what happens.
Yeah.
It kind of makes a poetic end of season.
We'll stack them up against the current winner. I didn't particularly enjoy My Three Sons as much as you guys did.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, comparing My Three Sons against Hell's Other Robots, I thoroughly enjoyed Hell's Other Robots a lot more.
Cool.
So from that standpoint, if I'm pairing those two together, yes, Hell's Other Robots. And I just had a really good time. Like, I'm not laughing as much. Once again, as we established, that's not really the point of this episode. We get a chance to really delve into social commentary.
Yes.
And a very specific... It's not just what they tend to do. And this is not a bad thing, but they tend to do social commentary on a lot of different subjects per episode. This is one specific direction. We're hitting religion. I vote Hell.
Okay. I don't know.
Oh, you don't know?
That's a tough one.
Well, I'll give you the time to think.
Okay.
Because mine is I love Hell's Other Robots. So I'm putting it up.
Oh, because this is one of your favorite. Yeah, that'd
It's
be weird.
absolutely one of my
maybe my favorite episodes. My Three Sons.
Hell's Other Robots is probably one of my favorite of all time. So yeah, it absolutely goes ahead. Stuff like Fender, like it's just funny.
Fender and Bender.
Bender. Hey Fender, hey Bender. Jacking on. The 3D animation in the Lightning Storm, I think, is really like quality animation.
There's a lot of 3D animation.
There
in the actual
is. There's a
episode.
lot.
And
And I
actually
actually
establishing shots. I'm like, it wasn't needed, but good on you for doing it.
Oh, and also, let's just not forget, there's further progression on the Everyone Hates Zoidberg train.
Yeah.
Electricity is going up this month. I'm looking at you, Zoidberg.
Yeah, and they cut his salt water cooler.
Yeah.
This is a witch hunt.
Well, technically, he can just salt his own water.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it's not hard. Tough one. I think My Three Sons was funnier, but I might have to go this episode just because of what themes it kind of delved into and the way he tackled them. And I guess that's, in a way, more enjoyable for me than just laughs solely on their own. And,
Yeah,
I mean, you got a lot of character development in My Three Sons, but
Oh, absolutely.
the way they went into Bender's drug use, pretty, I'd say commendable for an animation show in the 90s to be talking about drug use and jacking on and the way they're looking at religion. So props to them, and my vote's for that.
The voice today is going to be the Robot Devil.
Cool.
Hey, Bender! That's not... Bender! Oh my god, that's so bad.
I thought that was like Marge Simpson's mother.
Yeah. Turns out she does the voice for the Robot Devil too.
I'll give it a shot. No, Bender!
That's pretty good.
No, Bender! Robot Hell is an actual place! Here's our brochure.
That's good. I like that. That's great.
It's okay.
God damn it. What is one of his
Well,
lines?
yours last week was really good.
My Wernstrom.
Yeah.
I'll just do Wernstrom being the robot devil. What is one of the robot devil's lines?
If I just do that, and if I win, I'll kill one of you. Yeah. I don't know you.
And if I win, I'll kill one of you. That one.
He's very Irish.
Literally. We'll play the fiddle together. Yeah. Now I don't know what I've got.
Well, and I mean, obviously,
he did say fiddle, so you
fiddle.
have to.
Our audience obviously knows where the golden fiddle comes from, and you guys know where that's from, right?
No.
Seriously?
No. As in, no, but I wasn't. No.
It's The Devil Comes Down to Georgia. The song, The Devil Came Down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was doing. He was in.
Is this a Beastie Boys song?
No. This is a.
Devil came down to Georgia. What?
I need to hear that now in my life. I'm gonna. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I just saw what episode we have next, and I'm really excited. Next week will be A Flight to Remember, which is the Titanic episode.
Yeah.
Return of Zap Brannigan.
So good.
But the other thing as well, is, which we haven't done for a little while, is, email us.
Email us.
babybeardmedia@gmail.com. We've remembered how to say it now.
And by the time this will be out, Babybeard, Facebook.
We did get an email, by the way.
Did we?
Yeah, from my girlfriend.
What does it say, Sean? Tell us.
It just said, got some good peanut butter today. So they will do, we have a listener now, by the way. We have a listener.
Oh my God.
Hooray.
I can actually verify that.
Yeah, but it's kind of like forced listening.
Yeah.
You will listen, you will okay.
But yeah, if you guys want to send us some facts about episodes and we'll read them out maybe, like stuff that we missed or stuff that you guys have the ability to research better than us.
Or maybe what the hell Chris is talking about with that band. What's that
I'll
band
play
called?
it to you guys afterwards.
If you can fiddle, send us a video.
Hey, that's an idea. If you guys can do a cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia and you are actually like a fiddle player or play the violin, why don't you try and do a version of that to the Futurama theme?
Yeah. And
there you go.
And then as the robot devil.
Yeah. Cosplay as the robot devil.
That's fiddle with violin, not yourself.
Yeah. Don't fiddle with yourself.
I have been Sean.
I've been James.
I've been Chris.
See you next week.
See you guys.
See ya.
It's always the death before the podcast.
The death before the podcast.
Because a minute is what I need.
Minute is what you need. I don't know.
What's the time that we're sitting on?
5:35.
Look at that. We're so self-sufficient without a techie.
I know.
We've got this. Please come back, Tom.
Yeah, we miss you.
We need Tom.
Play it for
listeners, look it up as well.
Yeah, listeners, listen up. The Devil Went Down to Georgia by the something band, I think they're called.
By the something band. What?
People were like, woo, Primus rules. And then the band was like, you are not real fans. So the way real fans indicate that they are real fans is by saying Primus sucks. And during the song, My Name is Mud, it's customary to get mud off the ground and throw it at the band.
That also just reminds me of Tenacious D tribute.
Yeah, it's
a tribute.
Well, you know what tribute is based on?
It's based off of Ghostbusters.
Okay, good on you. Good try. Should we stop recording? Because we're talking about inane shit.